Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Here, the Watchman. Welcome to Friday, August 21st. And boy, what a month this has been. All the things going on in the world. It's just like warp speed disaster. That's what's going on. But we can all turn to Jesus and we know that we'll be okay. Today from the show, we try to reach out to different people and in different places around the country and even the world. We have with us my good brother, my dear friend, Mr. Mark Sutherland. Mark, thanks for joining us from an undisclosed location somewhere in Britain.
Thank you, my brother. Lovely to see you. Yes, I'm in an undisclosed prairie somewhere in the world, to coin a phrase. But thank you very much. How are you? How are you?
And it's good to see you. It's good to see you and know that you're okay, even though you're quarantined in a shipping crate there. It's uh, it's good to see and that you're holding up, and everybody over there is trying to hold up. But Mark,
Mm,
it's crazy here in the States. People are at the end of their limits with all of
mm,
this stuff. They want to
mm,
get out. Jeannie and I will be in High Hill, Missouri at the camp, the Warrior
mm.
Summit that Jamie Weldon has put together with about 170 other people. So we're finally going to break loose and get out there and fellowship. Derek and Sharon Gilbert will be there, Coach Dave and his wife, Pastor Mike Spalding and his wife, David Paxton and his wife, uh, Timothy Alberino and his kids, of course, Jamie, his wife, and his kids. And there's some other people there. I know I'll forget someone, but you know what? It's time. We're coming back out and fellowshipping. If you want to look into it, cutoff is now. There might be a few slots open, but you need to get onto it right now. The price is all inclusive when you look at it. It includes food, all the activities, swimming, fishing, canoeing, uh, different demonstrations on first aid. He's even got a thing where you can throw axes and things like that, and a paintball war. So it's going to be a good time. It's not a conference, it's a chance to fellowship. The leaders of it, myself and all the other ones I mentioned, we're there to just facilitate and be there to talk with you, not at you, and just reunite after all this time. Go to omegadynamics.org for more information. Now, Mark, that's what's happening here. The news reports very little to us about what's going on there, unless it has something to do with your royal family, and
Mm, mm,
especially Harry and what's her name that are over here now in Montecito in
mm,
you know, I don't know how many millions of dollars they spent on a house.
mm.
That's their idea, I think, of quarantining. But you know, what is happening over there? What is the feeling amongst the country? And then after we take a look at that, I want to speak to you about Christians shooting
Mm.
Christians, Christians judging one another, and what's going
Absolutely.
on with all that. So let's start out with what's going on in
That's a
your.
very it's a very good it's a very very good question, Mike, and we have to sort of go over a review. I mean, I think the key thing is to say that on March the 19th, they actually downgraded this coronavirus from a highly infectious disease on a UK government website. They downgraded it from a highly infectious disease to a not so highly infectious disease. Worked that one out, and then on the 24th of March, we then went into lockdown. And of course, I was with you just before that in Dallas, and when I flew back, and then when I got back within a week, the president had banned any flights coming from the UK into America. So the fact that we had downgraded it from a highly infectious disease, we have this complete idiot over here called Neil Ferguson, who said that 500,000 people were going to die. Then those figures were used on your side of the pond from 2 million people were going to die. What is going on? What is going on is that half the working population of this country has basically been put onto, the equivalent of universal credit, getting money from the government because their businesses, they then can't work. we have then found that 24, 25% of our gross domestic product as a country in regard to our economy has been pushed off a cliff. We've now gone, I think, for the first time, we've surpassed 2 trillion in debt, I think, today. So we've got all of that. We have had the complete and utter lies. We've had exactly what you have had in regard to the fact that old people have died, not of corona, with corona. We've had false death certificates and all of this. Every single thing that you have been through, we have been through. We now have empty hospitals and all the rest. And what we're now stoking up, I'm sure, is a load of mental health issues, the fact that people have been going up the wall when they're being confined and all the rest. So we have a situation where because of the propaganda, thanks to the biased broadcasting corporation and our media, you know, it's corona, you're going to die from this, 99.8% recovery of a particular disease and all the rest. And I'm not saying that something didn't come from a Wuhan lab from China. I am going to say that a man-made disease. Yeah, that is what I passionately believe. So where are we at? We are at the fact that we then discover that people like our health minister think that a wonderful man called Klaus Schwab is his best mate, who runs the Economic Forum 2020. And this is what it's all about. It's the fourth industrial revolution. It's basically, as far as I'm concerned, it's about bringing, you know, Marxism into the whole of the world. And our biggest enemy that we are dealing with in that form is China. This is a fourth generation attack. So our mood is that our Prime Minister, who's now on glamping on holiday in camping up in Scotland, wants everyone to go back to work. And then you've got various left-in thinking teaching unions, for argument's sake, well, we need to get the schools back. And then the teaching unions are going, well, how safe are our teachers going to be? And then it's like all this mandatory mask nonsense and all of this. We weren't wearing masks in April, etc., etc. And then if you're going to go in the supermarket or shopping, you must wear a mask. I'm just going to tell you now that I have not. I refuse to do this. There is going to be, which is going to be rather interesting the next time, you know, I want to go in Costco or something. There is a huge march or a rally being planned on the 29th of August in Trafalgar, because there are up and down this country freedom of speech movements in regard to up in Scotland and other places that have been down in Swindon, down in Brighton, down south, other places where they are pushing back and going, we know that there is an agenda going on. This is not right. And a lot of people, I believe, have begun to wake up. And Mike, what is the appalling thing? What is the appalling thing? But I think we have to see that there is the biblical agenda here. We see what the Bible says. So the Archbishop of Canterbury, that man that I have no time for whatsoever, made an edict that the Church of England churches would shut down because of corona. He's then being called out on that. And then he said, oh, well, this wasn't mandatory, it was just advisory. But it was mandatory. And if you were running a Church of England church and you decided to open, then you would have found yourself before a clerical court. So we've had that. So in other words, the church is shut down. The mainstream church has completely and utterly swallowed this Kool-Aid. And there's people awake, and a lot of Christians are awake, but there are people outside the church who have woken up because of the independent media and because of the research that they have been doing. So yes, this is Project Lockstep. We go back to Event 201, all of this. So it's appalling. It's terrible. You know, where is the church in this? They won't do the research, in my opinion. And when they do they then turn around and call people like me, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, here are the facts. And this is happening here. It's happening in America. It's happening in Canada. It's happening in Australia. I mean, Victoria in Australia is off the charts. And now potentially in New Zealand, which we're all checking out. So this is, when you say about the mood, personally, on a personal level, no, I'm struggling with this. This is totally and utterly impeded on my life. However, you and I would say that in all our conferences, with all the various people that speak at them, The bottom line is this, is that we knew that this day was coming. But you know what? We have been completely and utterly, I know I speak for myself, but I think others, I felt completely and utterly sucker punched. This wasn't maybe the way that I thought it would happen. But on the other hand, the control and the way people have absolutely fallen for this has been a absolute shock when they've had time to get on the internet and to research and find things out and listen to a dear friend of mine over here, Kate Seminary, who is all over this as a nurse, healthy nurse in a toxic world. We've then got Dr. Kaufman, Dr. Dolores Carhill. We got Sherry Tenpenny on your side of the pond. Dr. Bukadi, Dr. Patel, the whole thing. Dr. Shiva. I could go on. All of these. Then over here, someone called Dr. Kendrick, who's an amazing Scottish doctor as well. All of these people, you know, and my people are destroyed through lack of knowledge. And we're seeing, like over here, Mike, in regard to the state of the church, the Bible talks about that there will be an apostasy and a great falling away. That's happening. Then this whole thing of they want itching ears and all the rest. And we are seeing this. So on the other hand, this is when I have to grab hold of myself and go, Mark, we are seeing biblical events unfold like no other. We are seeing prophecies unfold, and we have a harvest out there of souls. We have a harvest. This is our role, to preach the gospel. What the problem that we have, as the Bible clearly states, is that the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And what we've got is a church, the Church of Laodicea over here, that is in full and utter apostasy. People, there's a dear friend of mine, he would be preaching in his church about the end times, and then he had a pastor there that would turn around and say, well, I don't believe that we're in the end times at all. So in the end, he's just turned around and gone, I'm leaving. I've had to leave. Now, we're not getting into, you know, a certain debate on, you know, post-trib, pre-trib, pan-trib, whatever. I'm not going down that road. We're dealing with what's in front of us right now. And we see the order of events and what things are unfolding. But man, oh man, Mike, as you've said, it's getting faster and faster and faster. And there seems no let up, especially in regard to, oh, well, we want to bring in mandatory vaccines and all this. And, you know, Boris Johnson made a speech last September at the UN. I should have seen that coming. I've been so angry at times with myself when I've missed things. And then he gave this speech at the UN, which I thought was a bit of a joke, but he wasn't joking. He wasn't joking about, you know, nanotechnology and all this kind of thing and smart cities. And that's partly because we were all looking forward to the 31st of January, when we made that decision. We actually began the official leaving of the EU after a 4-year fight. And rounding up, to me, we discuss politics, we discuss events in the world, because that is where the spiritual battle is happening. We're not fighting against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. And the other good thing about this is that we're really, really finding out who is a true believer or who is not. And I have discovered and made 1 or 2 friends that I hadn't had before this, because I'm finding other people. If I'm privileged to do an interview and have a conversation, I'm finding other people. And we really have got to join up and encourage each other. So trying to say that that's the mood, but we are called to get out there and preach the gospel. And that is now our priority. We've gone from knowing that this event was going to happen. We didn't understand the shape that it was going to be. We had no idea. And now it's here, Mike. Does that make any sense, what I've said to you?
Well, it does, Mark. And you know, the thing is, you and I run with the same circles here in the prophecy world. And yeah, we've been hearing all of this, but like you, I was totally sucker punched by how it happened. And you know, we talk about, or they talk about herd community. You know what? I don't
Yeah.
want to be part of a herd. I mean, let's talk about the herd out there buying all of the BS about this
Yeah.
whole virus.
Yeah.
You know, talk about a herd or the sheeple. You know, they'll
Yeah.
just walk right off a cliff if directed to do that. And it's sad that it's gotten that way on your side of the pond and on our side of the pond. And truly the answer is with Jesus. And segueing from, you know, what's happening politically, because people all know all that stuff right now. And, you know, I am a hardcore conservative. I am an anti-masker. Okay, that's just who I am and what I am. If I come across a store that says you must wear a mask to come in here, well, fine. I'm not coming in and spending my money in your store. So good luck with that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's who I am. Now, if you're someone who wears a mask and is concerned 24/7 and you've, you know, you're drinking the Kool-Aid that
Yeah.
they're putting out, fine. Go ahead, wear your mask. I'm not going to attack you. You shouldn't be attacking me. And that, Mark, segues into what is happening within the remnant body of Christ. People are tired right now and they're lashing out against one another, which is so against all biblical teachings in a time like this. It just makes my head spin. Christians judging other Christians. You know, I've said before, we are, as a group in the remnant body, the only ones that tend to shoot our wounded, you know, and not bring them in and nurse them back. You know, we've got pastors out there, we've got leaders out there who are attacking other Christians, saying, well, you're not a Christian, you're not saved, you still have an addiction, you have relationship problems, you know, you do this, you do that. And then they're out there gallivanting around with women behind closed doors. And now they're getting caught, and now they're out there crying about it. Oh, I repent. Oh, you know what? You know what? I cry BS. I mean, listen, you know, at the end of the day, we have one person that we have to atone to and ask for forgiveness from, and that's Jesus, you know. And for some of these guys that are leaders saying to everyone, well, you need to go out in front of the whole church and you need to admit your sins and cleanse yourself. No, I don't. I have to do that with the Lord, not with another human being. Mark, what do you see going on in that arena?
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the thing is, Mike, we all need each other, and we do need to keep short accounts. And frankly, there are, not that I'm going to say it, but there are apologies that some people need. They need to make. But we are so good at shooting our own, and we've got to stop this. We have got to come together and accept people for who they are with all their failings, and knowing, you know, we're not judge and jury. And of course, the fact is that we are accountable. You know, we are accountable to each other in a really good way, in the fact that we value friendships and we feel trusted in that way. And it's not about turning around an excuse for sin. We're trying to work at not doing that. But the way that we, you know, that certain individuals judge each other and all the rest, that is not helpful. It's extremely, unbelievably upsetting, and it has upset, you know, people and very dear people that are very close to my heart. And whether certain individuals would ever get an apology, I don't know. But the fact is, right now, with what's coming down the pipe, we need each other, and we need to keep short accounts and set things aside. We really do, because actually, Mike, in many ways, some of the old models are not going to work anymore. I mean, you've been talking about the brilliant conference and time that Jamie is organizing, that you and Jeannie are helping Jamie to organize. And I wish I could fly in and wish I could be there. Maybe it might be quite good if we can find a screen, and I'll do a comment from this side of the pond. I would love to do that. I know it'd be fantastic to do, and I know that Brian and Audrey would love to do that. You know,
Yeah.
it breaking their heart, frankly, that they can't be there because, you know, Trudeau thinks it's a really good thing to shut the Canadian-American border. This is off the charts to give an illustration of the restriction on people's lives. And of course, there's no wonder that people are getting strained. But we really, Mike, I can't say this enough, and I know you guys have started to set up in regard to a fellowship, you know, evening, afternoon, on Zoom, encouraging people together. All right, I'm going to say this. We have got to come together. We've got to come together in prayer in no matter what we do, right? And I say this respectfully, of course. And I know for a fact, like with the conference, not being able to put a conference on, that's affected your income, right? Of course that is. But guys, you know, there also comes a point. It isn't just about selling books and all the rest. I'm not being rude to anyone because the certain models are going to change. We need to corporately be out there modeling the fact that we are praying, that we are we are engaged in spiritual warfare. And we have got to do this. And we have got to engage. Now, we know that there's a biblical timeline. The great apostasy is happening. We are going towards end time events on speed, right? I'm fully aware of that. We've just had, I'm not saying that this is the, you know, the beginning of the, by signing this as the beginning of the tribulation, but the key is this: with the UEA, with the Sudan, with the fact that they are seeking relationships with Israel is a pointer along the road to say where we are at, potentially in regard to Ezekiel 38 and 39 war and all this kind of thing. There is events that are going to step up. We know that. Scripture talks about this. But we, you know, it's not about point scoring. And I'll say this. I am regularly on the phone. I am regularly on the phone to people because at times it's lonely. But also on the other hand, is the fact that God is teaching us. I have got so much to do and learn on this regard, in regard to my relationship with Him. And yes, there are those times, of course, it is going into the desert place. It really is. So I know that everyone, in all the different circumstances that people are going through, it has been unbelievable tough. But all I'm going to say is, can we start reaching out to each other? We have got to start looking at how to build communities, how to connect with each other. This is really, really, really important. I believe that, because if we are going to start seeing the food shortages, the water shortages, the way that these globalists have got various things planned, then we have got to start making a preparation. And here's the key thing. What does it actually mean to have your brother and sisters back? What does that really mean, right? Because it cannot just be a verbal thing that says, I've got your back. It literally has to be a physical thing. And what will you do for that person? If they are being attacked, will you then draw alongside them and say, what help do you need? How do we deal with this? How do we pull each other up? And I'll say this, when a Christian, you know, when someone's fallen or they're having difficulties, you don't come along and kick them with your size 12 boot and kick them in the stomach. You put your hand down and go, how can I help you up? How can I actually do that? So I think these are things, Mike, to me, you know, we've discussed this. You asked a very, very important question. And we have got to keep short accounts. This isn't a competition, but out there are some incredible resources that confirm what is going on, whether you're watching the Out of Shadows documentary, whether you're watching Plandemic, whether you're watching Millie Weaver's amazing piece of work last weekend, Shadowgate. If no one's seen any of those, watch them. We know there's the information as well. However, our most important thing, and I'm privileged to have had this conversation with a number of people, and I'm not saying I'm any great shakes, but the fact is that we have to grasp the opportunity to share our faith, to tell people about Jesus, about the gospel in the context of these events that are going on. And for over here, especially when we're seeing the church walk off the pitch, mainly because it doesn't believe in biblical prophecy. It doesn't believe in end time prophecy at all. Now, we have to work hard to not throw, our own fake news out there and all the rest. But coming back to that, Mike, without meandering too much, we need each other like no other time, right? I'm privileged now to talk to you. Last night, did another interview, and then talking regularly with friends in America, Canada, messaging people in Australia or New Zealand. We have now got to really just reach out worldwide. We really do. And when this happened in March, and I remember our dear friend Ellie saying, well, I started to see the grid light up. And our grid, we need to, our grid is prayer, and we need to push back. We really, really do, right? And Jamie Weldon is one of only a few people that I know of who puts it in such wonderful military terms. We are not supposed to be meek and mild and take this lying down. We are not. We don't have time to go through Romans 13, which is rather ironic that John MacArthur has most probably just discovered what it really means. So all credit to him after maybe preaching, you've got to obey the government for 30, 40 years. And I'm not necessarily picking on him. The fact is this: if America goes down, the whole of Western civilization is finished. I bear that in mind in regard to the end times and the fact that this is a massive Marxist push across the world. But Jamie in Dallas, Jamie, I'm sure, and the event coming very, very soon, it's about encouraging each other and equipping the saints, equipping the remnant body at this hour. And my pleading will be, look, guys, if you've got to apologize to each other, if you've got to apologize for things that you've either said about each other and done, can we do this? Can we be man enough to do this? Can we be woman enough to do this? Can we actually do this and just clear the slates? Because I just think that would be such a really powerful thing. It's not, you and I going, well, I just want to make this public apology. I'm not talking about that. It's in that quiet place. But like you, I am fed up with, at times, people shooting each other. I really am, and causing such hurt, So
let me interject.
That's my 2 pence. Go, Mike.
Let me interject something there, Mark. Let's use you and I as an example, and
yeah,
sure you don't mind. Mark and I had a little hiccup in our relationship along the line because we were both listening to other people, and we got sucked into this insane vortex of gossip, and it was truly, for me at least, awful. But when I saw Mark in person, in that quiet place, I simply went up to him and said, Mark, I am so sorry for anything that I did that caused harm to you as a result of all this stuff. Will you please accept my apology? And you know what Mark did? He gave me a hug. And he said, absolutely, brother, we're good. Now, that is all it takes. So get up off your eschatology. Get out there. And when you've wronged someone, and don't tell me that you haven't wronged someone. I try to do the best I can to be the best man that I am today, but I fall short constantly. And I have to go to Jesus and ask Jesus forgiveness. And I have to go clear things up with other people, as Mark said, one-on-one, man-to-man. I don't have to stand up at the pulpit and say, oh, woe is me, mea culpa, this is what I did. No, that's what I have to say between me and between Jesus. But I still have to go up and clean up my side of the street. And when you apologize to someone, if they don't accept it, it's on them. You did your part. That's on them. And you can walk down the street without looking the other way when they're walking down the other side of the street. But as Christians, as Mark said, we need to unite more now than we ever have before, because you're
Yep.
just getting a teeny, teeny, tiny, tiny taste of what's to come. And if
Yeah.
you don't have brothers and sisters out there who, as Mark says, have your back, you're you're lost. You're going to be one of those sheeple walking off the cliff. That's what you're going to be. Don't you agree, Mark?
I do, and let's just say it. You know, one of the reasons I flew out to Dallas, Mike, was to face down my critics. Let's just say that. I'm not. You know, let's just be honest. I'm not shying away from that. I'm more than prepared to be in the room and go, right, we then need to have a conversation. So I appreciated the conversation I had with you and with others, and that's important. And the thing is, we're not. You know, there are genuinely, and you know this, there are other people that need an apology. They really do, right? And I hope that that happens. But the fact is this: is that we will admit that we need that. This is real. This is not a game. And I think suddenly, what the events that happened from March suddenly really confirm that this isn't a game anymore. This isn't about. I'm not having a go at you guys, because the thing is, the conferences have facilitated such knowledge and other conferences. But the fact is that people cannot go from one conference to another thinking that this is a hobby. And in March, that hobby ended. That hobby absolutely ended. And I'll tell you why it ended: because it knocked, I won't swear, the wind out of me. And what breaks my heart at times right now is thinking, am I going to be able to be physically in the same room again with certain dear friends of mine, right? That is challenging to me. That's challenging to a lot of people. And on your side of the pond, whether we like it or not, I'm sorry, I do like it, but one of the things is about the way I then get on the plane and then cross and come over to America, is because there are more people there like-minded. You know my testimony. In 2017, I got on a plane, I came over to hear the Watchmen. I walked into Dallas to confirm the fact that I wasn't going raving mad, because I needed to talk to people from other like-mindedness. The isolation in regard to the knowledge and what we know is absolutely true. And I'm not going into it, I don't have to, but you also know, as you're aware, there is a cost that comes with this, and it becomes highly costly. So then to be amongst, if 170 people are going to gather for Jamie's conference, then that is fantastic. And I am, in the right way, I am jealous of that. I really am, because
We'll
that
connect with you.
needs to happen over here. Sorry.
Yeah, we will definitely connect with you from that conference. I mean, I'm going to take my jetpack with me and everything else so I can make sure that we have good feeds. But we'll connect with you because it's time now, Mark. As always, with Hear the Watchman and my shows that I do, I love to get into the solution. Where is the solution for all of us?
Right. The solution is this: is that we have to get into the Bible. I'm talking to myself. They're going to be dear friends of mine. They're going to hear this and just go, well, what are you doing, son? You need to do that more. And you're absolutely right. We have to get into scripture, and we have to take that into our spirit big time. Man, oh man, am I talking to myself profoundly today over that. We have to do that. We have to get into prayer, and we have to encourage each other. We know there are events. We are in biblical events. We're in the clock, the time clock that the Lord has set up, and it is happening. It's happening before us. And we have to seek his face and go, right, what do you want us to do in these circumstances? But more importantly, give us opportunities to tell other people about you, because as in the days of Noah, when will we know of the day of Jesus' return? Matthew 24, as in the days of Noah, Jesus gave a firm warning about make sure that you are not deceived. But we think about Noah building an ark for many, 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 many years, being ridiculed and all the rest. We have all been ridiculed. And then suddenly this event is here, right? We have got to be patient with people in regard to their waking up. My concern is this, as a number of people understandably turning towards the new age when they think, oh, we're all going to get over this and everything's going to be fine. No, the way I read the Bible is that this is not going to be fine. This is going to get tougher, right? That's not me being negative. So what do? We're praying. We're reaching out. We reach out to people, as we've said. We hold short accounts. Make those apologies where need to be made. Talk to people. Put things right with people. And if you don't think I'm talking to myself, I am talking to myself big time.
Well,
and go from there.
We all need to look in the mirror. We all need to look in the mirror at time. But I'll tell you what, time is short right now. So we need to get out and clean the street up. But only you can do that. Only you can go out there and go up to a brother or sister and tell them that you're sorry. But I highly suggest you do it now because that time is short. Mark, we're out of time. Speaking of short, it's just been such a blessing to spend time with you and talk to you. I will be connecting with you from the Warrior Summit, and we'll talk there. I'll see if I can get a little group together that I'm like helping, and we can all come together and spend some time. But you know, as we leave today, I would be so honored and blessed if you would lead us in prayer.
I will do, Mike, and thank you very much for asking. And just it's been lovely to talk to you. So let's just pray. Father, I'm always astounded how you then put me in this position when my feelings don't really match up to now what I'm going to say and what I've got to do. But this is where the rubber hits the road. And Father, I just ask, bluntly, I'll just say it, that if people have got to make things right with other people, that can we please do that? Can we now do that? Just do that honestly, work all this through, and then forgive where we need to forgive. Can we really, really do that? Can we actually work this out? And I do pray that you will encourage all of us, because we do need each other. Relationships are changing, and we're finding out who our real friends are. We really are. And there is a lot of suffering, and it is costly to so many of us. But Father, you never said that it was going to be easy. You said that you will be with us, that you will always have troubles in this world, but I will be with you. And I just pray that we can just absolutely grasp that, hang on onto that. You know, and we think about Psalm 91 particularly, and the fact that you are with us and that you are protecting us. I pray that Jamie's conference will be an outstanding success because of the fact that people genuinely get together and they want genuine fellowship. We want you. We want this to be real. We do not want churchianity that so many people have put up with for years and years and years. Let's just say that on a Sunday. And these events have really, really exposed the church, frankly. It's not having a negative bash, but it's shown the truth of it. And now people have got to step up. So I pray for America. I just pray that people will step up and just stop leaving it to other people, but will actually get on the streets and do things politely. They would do that. Stop trusting any other plan except the plan that you have, Father. And the same here in the UK. We have to speak up, because when we do, we are reaching people, we're reaching non-Christians and having the incredible opportunity to tell them about you. So I just commit all of this to you in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark, for that. Thank you all for joining us today here on the Watchmen's Report. please make sure you subscribe to this channel, and also go to hearthewatchmen.com. Take a look at everything that we've got going on. There's an online conference, Igniting the Fire, the Ultimate Solution. I'm going to try and talk Mark into making a presentation for that. And you can avail yourself for that. You get viewing of it for 90 days. Plus, you will also get for 90 days the Dallas conference that we did in March that Mark talked about. So go there, look at that. Also look at, we are going to go to Orange County, California, even if we have to do the conference outdoors. We're going to figure out a way to make it work, but we will be there. There's a list of speakers there. We just added Drew Graffia and his wife. We had them on our fellowship call last night, and they were off the hook. Crazy great, an amazing young couple on fire for Jesus. So, Mark, once again, thank you for joining us.
Absolute pleasure, and thank you for having me. Thank you, my brother.
You're welcome. And folks, we will see you next time here on the Watchmen's Report. But until then, as we always say, there's absolutely nothing that you can't do with Jesus in your heart, except nothing at all. Get up, get out there, make a difference for him. We'll see you again next time. Have a wonderful afternoon.